How's it going? So, it's the holiday season, y'all. I think that we need to get a little bit more festive in the shop. Oh yeah, look at that. Just what any welding shop needs, a nice big flammable thing to take up 90% of the space. It's fake. That doesn't mean it's not flammable, it's just significantly less flammable than a real tree. Either way, this tree is missing the most important ornament of all. Look at that bare top. Embarrassing. Let's fix that. I hate it. Oh god, chair. What is this? This isn't like any star I've ever seen. This is a spiky ball. Out of here. Well, that may have been in the spirit of Christmas. That is not in the spirit of YouTube. We need something more absurd to put on top of the tree. Something more impressive. Maybe something that emulates a star better. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're gonna put a fusion reactor on top of this tree. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm some kind of secret super genius making a nuclear reactor in his garage. The one that I'm gonna be making is the Farnsworth Hirsch. God, I better look that up. The one that I'll be making today is a Farnsworth fuser.
I can wire anything directly into anything. I'm the professor.
Now, button in here, this is actually a Hirsch Meeks fuser that I'm building, which is an iteration of the Farnsworth fuser. The original Farnsworth fuser actually used electron guns to shoot particles at the center electrode. The Hirsch Meeks model is more like what I'm building, which is a demonstration fusion reactor. And while it can produce fusion, one, it's not useful fusion, and two, the way I'm making it, it's gonna be making very little fusion, and we want that, because I'm not trying to fill my garage with ionizing radiation. Not this Christmas. So in order to make this thing, we need a vacuum chamber, and I want to use glass, because I want to be able to see inside the chamber, and acrylic outgasses a lot, and we need a pretty decent vacuum for this. So I've got a few glass vases and whatnot I got at the thrift store, and I think the best way to do this is just to test them one at a time and see which one doesn't implode. Safe. As you can see, I've attached a barb fitting and a vacuum gauge to the bottom of this plate. I cut a little silicone gasket on the laser. We're hooked up to my Harbor Freight vacuum pump, and we're gonna give this first guy a shot. Safety glasses are on. Really should be wearing a face shield for this, but you know, face scars are cool. Also, I don't own a face shield. We're gonna use the turn it on and run away method. I'm out of here. So far so good. And I'm too scared to come over there and read the gauge. Alright, I'm gonna leave you guys alone for like 5 minutes. Alright, round 2. This time I stuck a ball valve on the vacuum pump. Bang, look at that. So it really starts to lose its vacuum pretty immediately. So we definitely have some leaks slash and or outgassing happening. Probably leaks. Oh, look at that. All I did was put hose clamps on and it's holding. So 21.5 doesn't seem so great, but considering I'm at 7,000 feet, the maximum vacuum that I can attain is 23.1 inches of mercury, which is, you know, right there. So I think this will be close enough for what we're trying to achieve here. Either way, we'll find out pretty quick. So for the next step in this process, I've made this little ball, and this will be the inner electrode of this system. This fuser works by having an inner grid surrounded by an outer grid inside a vacuum. Now, no vacuum is perfect, so there will still be molecules in there. This guy will be at negative 10,000 volts or something. The cage will be at earth ground. The high voltage potential between the two cages will create a plasma and ionize the gas molecules in between them. So all these ions in the chamber will then be attracted to the center electrode, and they'll start accelerating into the center. And this thing works for fusion, albeit on a very small scale, with the probability of those particles missing the inner electrode cage and slamming into each other hard enough to fuse. So, we need a way to feed high voltage into this electrode inside the vacuum chamber with no leaks and completely isolated from the base plate of the chamber. And we're gonna do that using a ceramic heater tube. I'm surprised that didn't break when I threw it. I ordered an 8-pack of these, which means we have 8 tries to cut these right. So, I'm gonna go with my first instinct for this and use violence. Ha! Alright, I guess that worked. Maybe I can sand it. Yeah, that worked, man. Alright, moving right along. So I have a bad feeling my little ball here is gonna melt under the high voltage. So I wanna be able to change out this electrode. The way I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna use this piece of all thread inserted into the ceramic tube. And then that way I can just bolt on new electrodes as I need. So, to do this, we're gonna use our good old friend, not so quick setting epoxy. Alright, that was stressful. Anyway, we got the JB weld on, propped up nice and square. Now, I gotta go. It's date night, and my girlfriend's mad at me. So while that JB weld sets up, we can start working on the high voltage power supply. And for that, we're gonna use my trusty neon sign transformer. Now, neon sign transformers get a lot of guff, but I think for this application, it's perfect. So for a proper fuser, you need at least 20 kilovolts. But again, we're making a demonstration fuser, so we don't need anywhere near that voltage. A lot of people use microwave oven transformers. I'm not using a microwave transformer because I don't like them. They kind of give me dirty looks. Now the problem with neon sign transformers, they're made to control a neon sign, so the initial starting spark on the side needs high voltage. As there's more demand for current, the voltage will lower and lower and lower. So this 15 kilovolt, 60 milliamp neon sign transformer will have an initial spark at that rating. But as there's more current demanded, the voltage will lower and lower and will probably more realistically be getting 2 kilovolts, which is a microwave oven transformer. Problem with a microwave oven transformer is it's not current limited, so one mistake, you're dead. This guy, there's a couple more mistakes to do before you're dead. Now, much like you should derate your electrical components so they don't blow up, I like to derate the amount of dumbness it takes to die. Now we're gonna have to rectify this voltage, and because of the way that the neon sign transformer is built, we're not gonna be able to do a full wave rectification. It will be a half wave. To make the rectifier, I've got a couple high voltage diodes. These are rated for 20 kilovolts, so we should be fine. And if I'm not mistaken, we need a negative voltage. We gotta put these backwards, like so. So this will be one end of the neon sign transformer, this will be the other. Between here and earth ground will be our voltage potential. Let me solder these together. Ta-da! I went ahead and soldered these wires on and put some little connectors on. It's only 14 gauge, so hopefully that's okay. But I think having all these open connections flopping around is a bad idea, so I think we should pot this. Sticking with the Christmas theme, we'll pot it in this. I'm sorry, Mr. Gingerbread Man. Now it's a gingerbread lady. And once again, he's a gingerbread man. So, this will be our output, and these will be our inputs. Oh, this doesn't feel right, man. Merry Christmas. I'm gonna fill this whole thing up with mineral oil. But first, tried and true way to seal up any leaks. Hot glue. No, I'm not gonna start that again. Sorry. Gonna tell you a little secret. After that last video with the monstrous amount of hot glue, I left my hot glue gun plugged in for the rest of the week. Oops. Probably why all this hot glue is kind of popcorn colored. Now we can fill this thing up with mineral oil, sold as a laxative. Hopefully it'll help us squeeze out some high voltage. Oh my god, that was stupid. So as you can see here, we have a variac with our neon sign transformer plugged into that, going to our holly jolly rectifier with some very long wire loops. Hopefully that's okay. I just don't want to cut them. It's the only 10 gauge I got. Going to a Jacob's ladder. Let's see if this works. Fingers crossed, safety glasses on, workbench unplugged, variac all the way down, butthole clenched. Let's go. The transformer doesn't like that, but we did get a bit of a spark. Now we got 2 flashes on this thing, which means secondary ground fault exists when grounded. Uh-oh. How do we make it not care about that? Look at this. I popped the top off of the transformer to see if I can take out the GFI circuitry. And obviously we have our potted transformer in here, but look, cardboard. Freaking cardboard. That is quality. So I'm not 100% that I did this right, but I cut out this little box, and these are the wires I chose to tie together, assuming this is hot, this is line, and this is to control a relay or something in the box. 70% sure this is right, which is I think about as close as we're gonna get. It's for a fusion reactor, right? So we're kind of getting into quantum physics. And in quantum physics, you don't need 100%, you just need probable. It's fair enough to extend that over to the electronics, right? Right? I'm scared. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. There. That's a long arc, man. Alright, Jacob's ladder or not, I think this is gonna work. What kind of YouTuber would I be if I didn't get the Jacob's ladder working? There you go. Just give it a second, it's cold in here. There you go. Going crazy. Ah, the sweet smell of ozone. Alright, our high voltage supply is working. Moving right along. So, as you might be able to tell, it sagged a little bit while it was setting up. So we got a bit of a wonky electrode in there. But the JB weld looks pretty consistent and it looks like it's going to work, assuming that this ceramic tube isn't too porous. Now, I've drilled some holes in the corners and I've made these little standoffs that we can just attach using some 1/4-inch screws. Like so. And now we just need a nice non-conductive base. Always hard to find something non-conductive in a metal shop. Wood! Bam! It's perfect. I'm gonna reinstall the vacuum stuff and then we'll attach it to this wood base. I've drilled some holes in the base, not all the way through. Okay, I lied, I accidentally drilled one all the way through, but I capped it. Then here's our base with the plumbing installed. We've got our barb fitting for the vacuum pump. Then our vacuum gauge is stuck out to the front. And then these standoffs will glue into our base using, I'm not going to say it, hot glue. One final thing we need to do to this before installing our electrodes and giving it a test is we need an outer cage to put at ground potential around our inner electrode. Using our gasket to kind of guesstimate where everything goes. That looks pretty good. Now we can connect our inner electrode. There's like one thread holding that on. Perfect. Alright, now our outer cage can just be inserted into these holes. Like so. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine, man. It's fine. Ta-da! So we're all hooked up. Ground is attached to the case. Our high voltage is hooked up to the electrode. We have our inner cage and our outer cage. Both a little janky. We may have to revisit those, but we'll see. I should probably take this sticker off, but I kind of like the idea of a fusion reactor from Goodwill. So we seem to be getting to the same amount of vacuum. That's a good sign. Closing the ball valve. That needle is moving a little bit, but it's not too bad. Let's try it with the high voltage. Let's give her. So you can see the plasma, and weirdly enough, that wire is not collapsing yet. Here's a further away shot. I think it looks pretty cool from far away. Beautiful. Got me a Geiger counter. Now we're not putting any fuel in this thing, so nothing should be happening, but let's see if I've been radiating myself this whole time. Oh no, we went up 1 CPM. Yeah, it looks like normal background radiation to me. It works! Well, it works as good as it will work with the setup that I have. We need a deeper vacuum and higher voltage if we want to get anything crazier. Which, if you guys are interested, I plan to do that. Not in this video though. In this video, we're putting this on a tree. So let's do that. Now that is a quality Christmas ornament right there. Maybe a little too dangerous for the kids. Don't unwrap the present that arcs out to the wrapping paper. So, what did we achieve here? Fusion? Nuh-uh. A demonstration of how a fuser works? Yeah, sorta. I guess if you look on the fuser forums, we made it to Plasmaneer. I don't know what they call it. But I think from this project I learned a lot about how to build a fuser and where my bottlenecks are. We didn't actually get it into star mode. You'll see some beautiful pictures of demonstration fusers where you can actually see where the particles are converging in the form of light, which we don't have a good enough vacuum for that. There's still too much stuff in the way of the particles to actually get in there and, you know, release some energy. And I don't feel comfortable taking this Goodwill vase down to a good enough vacuum, nor do I have the right equipment. But I do plan to revisit this. It may take me a while to gather and or build the proper equipment, but I do want to attempt proper fusion in the future. This stuff is really freaking cool, man. Either way, it's a fun project, kind of a nice way to dip your toes into the world of vacuum and plasma projects. And I think there's a lot to be learned from it. So, we'll call this a success. Either way, it's been an awesome year here on YouTube. Thanks for sticking around to watch it. If you like what you saw, leave a good old dinger. Think about subscribing. Thank you for watching.